communicated. The fourth is that you achieved that outcome by impermissibly altering the bid and supplementing the bid at a date more than 6 months after the bid submission deadline, at which point no additional documents and no changes ought to have been capable of being made to the bid. And the last proposition is that this entire process was orchestrated in a manner that the CFO and the general never communicated directly with each other in a manner that would leave an electronic trail of what they were doing, but instead communicated indirectly through you. So those are the propositions. The first one is that your brother's bid ought to have been disqualified on any one of 12 different independent grounds. What's your response to that?
Firstly, the statement that you just uttered is false. Myself, the CFO and the General did not orchestrate anything. According to me, or my understanding, by the time when my brother submitted such documents for the tender that was closed 6 months before, all the documents were there because were compiled by the tender document specialist. So there is no way on earth that 6 months later or 6 months down the line, there were going to be documents that are not there. According to me now, or the way it happened here, I did not ask for the General's intervention in terms of communicating with Nico only on the Tshwane project. Even in other provinces, this project was merely or barely meant for Mpumalanga, Matthew Posa municipality, or more, something like that.
But Sergeant, why would the General Dlamini be talking to you about, in this kind of detail, telling you that the tender is the respects in which the tender is non-compliant? Why would he be telling you that in respect of Mpumalanga tender? And why are you talking to the CFO about it?
Okay, it was the matter of knocking doors, Commissioner, that my brother don't know, places or people in wherever other than Tshwane. So I'm bringing this to the Commission that the reason this was done later, it is not because they were added to a file that already the project was closed. It's the ongoing project. Ongoing project.
Are you saying now that General Dlamini was also assisting your brother to prepare tender documents? It's no longer Nico now.
No. I'm not saying that,
yes.
Commissioner. I'm saying through General Dlamini, Nico is the one who's doing all the documents. Mm-hmm. Now, the General makes sure, because if he's the one who recommended Nico, that Nico does what is expected of him. With regards to this project, there is no way that my brother's company would have short of papers 6 months later. There is no way.
Okay, let's take one example. The certificate that has been given shows a grade B.
Yes.
I think training. It shows that. And you have a message which says we need grade A guards. That's what you get told. We need grade A guards. Now, explain why this has to do with Mpumalanga, with the Mpumalanga tender coming from General Dlamini. General Dlamini says we need grade A. We know he's in Tshwane. We know you're talking to the CFO of Tshwane. What does this have to do? We need a grade A. What does it have to do with Mpumalanga? Or these two people, what do they have to do with Mpumalanga?
Okay. According to me now, or what transpired, the general received this message from Nico. That is now what I'm thinking. Now, the CFO is going to knock on the doors in Mpumalanga, but it was not all about the Tshwane project because already it was closed 6 months prior.
Now, if the general received this from Nico, why is, because you said Nico is assisting your brother. He's not assisting the general. That's your evidence.
That's correct.
He's assisting your brother with tenders. Why would Nico send this to the general instead of to your brother? Because according to you, your brother is being assisted by Nico. He was, in fact, I think you said, Nico or your brother was referred to Nico.
That's correct.
To assist him. Why is the general involved with this?
Now, general is involved because if I ask him to intervene between Peggy and Nico, and I assume that the reason that Nico was sending the general now is because maybe Peggy was playful or was not taking serious or was too busy. I might not know. That is the reason when you find in previous chart, I would say to the general, can you please intervene between Nico and Peggy so that there must be a progress. But I still stand by my statement that when that project was closed, my brother had already complied with everything. So this is an ongoing application of other tenders.
Thank you.
Can I put one last question, or one last set of questions to you, Sergeant? We know your brother's company was awarded the tender. Did El Shaddai get the tender also?
According to me, yes.
What about Gubis?
I don't know.
I want to put it to you that Gubis did get the tender as well. I want to put to you something that I would seek your comment on, because if you go back to page 177.
Which file?
File 1. You'll see that on the 25th of March.
That is 177.
177.
Okay.
On the 25th of March, when you forwarded to the CFO the list of vehicles for land to be given in order of priority, there were 7 companies which did not include Gubis. You recall that?
That is the 25th of March, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
What also happened on the 25th of March is that you got a report from the General that he'd met with Kane and those guys today, and he told them that they should go back where they've started, Umfowethu. He told them that Umfowethu is the only gateway, they can't go with a back door, that the General would only assist them if he got an indication from Umfowethu to assist them, and the protocol had to be observed. That was on the 27th. Sorry, that was on the 27th of March. That's at page 522.
Also 178, so that you don't move around.
178.
Yeah, the next page.
Oh. And then suddenly Madlanga Looses started trying to contact the CFO. And then at the end of the process, Gubis made its way onto the list of people who did get the tender. I want to put to you that what happened in this case, is that Gubis were not on the list. They complained to the general. The general said, don't speak to me, there's only one gateway, it's the CFO. Madlanga Looses then started calling the CFO regularly, and then lo and behold, Gubis find their way onto the list. What's your response to that?
I wouldn't comment on that because I would not comment on that.
Thank you. Sergeant, we've gone way past 4 and I'm about to shift to another topic altogether. So unless the commissioners want to keep sitting, I'm happy to take a break here. Commissioners seem disinclined to continue sitting.
I'll ask my questions on this tomorrow. Or perhaps just, it won't be long. Sergeant, in response to a much earlier question by Mr. Shaskalsin and a question by Commissioner Baloyi, you said that your brothers, that is Ngapesheya, your brothers' company's documents were compliant as at the time of submission. Did I understand you correctly?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Yes. Now, the date of submission, or rather the deadline, was in 2024. Is that correct?
Which page is that, Commissioner?
Look at 566, page 566. That's when Tshwane has put together a list of all the companies that had put in bids. So they would only do that if it's already past the deadline. And according to that document at the top, it's the deadline was the 2nd of October, 2024. So you must accept that, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Now, what I want to understand is, do you think that the general could have said that some documents were outstanding in respect of Ngapesheya if they were in fact not outstanding?
Okay, can you repeat that, my honorable?
Do you think that the general would have said that some of Ngapesheya's documents were outstanding when in fact they were not outstanding?
I just want maybe when I respond, I must not respond maybe negatively or wrongfully. According to my understanding now, Commissioner, is that the document that the general sent to me, it had nothing to do.
No, please don't anticipate the next question I'm going to ask, Sergeant. Please, just answer the one that I've already asked. Do you think that the general would have said that there were documents that Ngapesheya had not submitted, if in fact, as at the deadline, Ngapesheya had submitted all the documents that were required?
The general would never do that.
Sorry?
He would never do that.
He would not do that. Now, remember, we have agreed that the deadline was towards the end of 2024. Mr. Shaskalson took you to a chat at page 525 on file 2, page 525. And there at chat number 3, there's a list of 5 documents that are said to be outstanding. That's the general. And the general is communicating with you. So it's not just that list. In the next chat number 4, the general then says, "Afternoon, Captain. I trust you are well and your family. Please push Peggy being your brother, correct?
That's correct.
Please push Peggy to submit the above documents." That's the list of the 5 documents in chat number 3. Obviously, that means those documents are outstanding, and this is as at 4 October 2020. 13 April, I'm sorry. This is as at 13 April 2025. Do you see that?
That's correct.
Now, the effect of this is that these documents are outstanding and the general is asking you to push Peggy to submit them. And you could only be asked to push Peggy to submit the documents if the documents were indeed outstanding, correct?
But not on this tender. I'm thinking on other ones, but not on this one.
Is that a Tshwane tender as well?
No.
So you're going back to the Mpumalanga thing, the Mpumalanga story.
Or maybe it's, I did not understand your question correctly.
So I'm saying, are you saying that this relates to the Mpumalanga tender that you referred to in response to Commissioner Baloyi?
I can, maybe the interpreter can intervene.
You say that the outstanding documents listed here by the general do not relate to the tender that we have been discussing. Did you not just say so?
I can't recall that.
Or which tender did these documents relate to? The documents listed in chat number 3, which tender did they relate to?
Commissioner, I can't even recall. My mind is...
You've just said they did not relate to the Tshwane tender that we've been talking about. So if you know that they did not relate to that tender, that must be because you know which tender they related to. So which tender did they relate to?
Okay, I think they related to the Tshwane one.
To the very one we've been discussing throughout.
Yes.
Then my earlier question stands, which is that as at 13 April 2025, that means at the very least 5 documents were outstanding in respect of your brother's tender. Correct? It follows as a matter of course, it's only logical. They
were not outstanding, commissioners.
What did the general mean then? Did the general not mean that these documents were outstanding?
He meant they were outstanding, but not on this project.
I will stop here because it seems we are moving in circles. I will leave it, General.
Can I ask just one
I will
question?
leave it, Sergeant. I'm sorry for promoting you.
Sgt Nkosi, why would the CFO of Tshwane and the General Dlamini, be discussing with you a tender in Mpumalanga? Why would the CFO of Tshwane have any interest in assisting you in a tender?
Okay, according to me, it is not the matter of maybe in a bad way, but is trying to help where you could.
Is that what you say he was doing? He was helping you where he could in relation to a tender in Mpumalanga.
In a mall, yes.
And it's just a coincidence that around the same time, they were evaluating a tender, a security tender in the city of Tshwane, which your brother had bid for. So it was just a coincidence that while he's helping you with a bid in Mpumalanga, they are also evaluating a bid in Tshwane, where your brother has submitted a bid. That's just a coincidence.
That is my submission to my honorable.
And do you think it's proper that the CFO of Tshwane, while evaluating a tender in which your brother has submitted a bid, is also assisting you in relation to a bid in another municipality?
No. He was, Commissioner, he was not assisting as in assisting. He was knocking on doors. I'm just saying.
Knocking on doors for you or your brother, that's assistance. So while he's evaluating your brother's bid in Tshwane, at the same time, you're forwarding to him things that relate to a tender in Mpumalanga, and he's helping you with that, at the same time that he's evaluating your brother's tender in Tshwane. And what I find exceptionally odd is this. If you had submitted all these documents in the Tshwane bid, you wouldn't have a problem because the CFO of Tshwane would say, oh no, you already have these documents, you've submitted them to us. You can use the same documents in the bid in Mpumalanga. Because you don't need multiple annual financial statements. If you've got one set, you use the same set. If you've got one SIRA certificate and it is certified, if you've got one SIRA letter of good standing and it is certified, in the same calendar year, you can use all those documents. It's highly improbable that for Tshwane you would have been compliant, but for Mpumalanga you would not be compliant. It just doesn't make sense.
Sometimes it does, Commissioner.
No, not in the same financial year, no. In a different year, maybe. If you look at the SIRA certificate, for example, it expires in 2026. So the same certificate could have been used.
You would find that at that particular time when my brother submitted those documents, they did not have, maybe he might have misplaced them somewhere. So that's why that even, that can also add that why it was outstanding.
Yes, but then you could get them from the CFO. You could say, CFO, can I have the documents that I've submitted with you? I need to use them in another tender in Mpumalanga because I'm already compliant. Because a SIRA certificate is a SIRA certificate. It does not change. So look at page 616. That certificate expires on 10 January 2026. It was issued on the 10th of January 2024, 11 Jan 2024. It would not have changed because that is the certificate that applied during the relevant period. And the same thing with the SIRA letter of good standing on the next page. The issue was they were not certified. So if your answer to the chair is that the ones submitted to Tshwane were certified, then that's all you needed to do, obtain those ones and use them in Mpumalanga. So your position that we were compliant in Tshwane, but for Mpumalanga we would not have been compliant, it doesn't make sense.
Sgt Nkosi, do you realize that it's a matter of relative ease for documents to be obtained, if there are any, and please underline if there are any, in respect of the Mpumalanga tender that you are referring to? Do you realize that?
Can you repeat that, Commissioner?
Do you realize that it's a matter of relative ease for documents relating to the Mpumalanga tender that you are referring to, if any such tender exists? Do you realize that? Can you please interpret, Ms. Maria? I'm sure you can. I've asked the question twice.
Uyabona ukuthi bekulula
Kulula khona manje.
kulula ukuthola lawo ma document ukuthi asebenze eMpumalanga ngoba ngabe ebekhona ebetholakele kule tender.
Kulula ukuthi atholakale khona manje. Kulula ukuthi. Uyakubona lokho, uyakuqonda lokho.
Okay. Ukuthi ngimuzwe kahle uCommissioner uthi ungabe lama document bekakade ekhona eTshwane bengeke kube inkinga ukuthi abe khona naseMpumalanga. Cha.
Namanje kulula kumanje.
Yeah. Ukuthi amaphepha ale tender okhuluma ngayo kulula ukuthi angatholakala eMpumalanga uma ekhona. Uyaqonda lokho?
Yes, good.
Kulula ukuthi atholakale khona manje. Angithi?
That's correct, Thomas.
Yes. As you sit there, are you saying that such a tender was indeed issued, and that if inquiries relating to that tender are made, documents relating to it can be found?
Kunjalo, Commissioner.
What exactly was this tender? What was the work that was required to be done in terms of that tender?
Bekugada umall according to the information.
A mall belonging to whom?
Somewhere in Matthew Posa municipality. But I can't be sure exactly which department, but somewhere in Matthew Posa.
I'm saying mall belonging to whom, Sgt Nkosi?
I don't know. Maybe
I heard you refer to, just a minute. I heard you refer to a department, so I'm suggesting that this could possibly have been a mall belonging to a department.
Maybe I put it wrongfully when I say a mall, but it was some entity there in Mpumalanga. But I remember that it was Matthew Posa, somewhere there.
Matthew Posa Municipality.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Oh, may I ask between you and your attorneys to try to obtain the documents relating to that tender?
That's correct.
All right.
May I, while you noting that you are still going to get those documents, may I just show you that this exchange it wasn't about knocking on doors trying to get business, but in fact related to a tender that has been submitted already. Mr. Chaskalson has said to you this was Tshwane, you say it's in Mpumalanga, but in any case, it is a tender that has been submitted and that you should not be interfering with. If you look at page 525, Chat 3, which lists, the chair has taken you through the documents that are listed there. If you look at item 4, that tells you that it is a shortcoming in a tender that has been submitted. It says, lease agreement of vehicles. The document submitted, underline that, submitted of Avis is a quotation, and we need an agreement with photos of vehicles, including a 5-ton truck. Now, you have said the 5-ton truck was required for the Tshwane tender earlier on in your discussion with Mr. Chaskalson. Now you're saying this related to guarding a mall. Maybe tomorrow you'll explain why you need a 5-ton truck for that. But more importantly, in that item 4, it says Peggy has submitted the wrong document, a quotation instead of an agreement. So that's the clearest indicator, the reference to what has been submitted and that is required to be corrected, 1. 2, that the photos including a 5-ton truck, which you told us earlier, that was required for this tender. This is the Tshwane tender. Those are clear indicators that this relates to a tender that had been submitted and corrections are being sought to be made. And your response in page 526 is very much consistent with a tender that has been submitted that must still be decided. And I'm going to read just the last 2 lines. You say, please, General, intervene. We can't lose now. We've been waiting for this for a while. So this is not about knocking at doors. This is about a tender whose decision is pending. And you're asking the general to press so that you don't lose. You cannot lose. This is something you've been waiting for a while. If this was about knocking on doors, then there's nothing to it. There's nothing specific that you've been waiting for a while. You're going to be, as you tell us, Mr. Munici will be knocking doors and hope to get a contract. But here, it's a very specific contract. And I'm putting to you that you're not being truthful when you say this is Mpumalanga and it's about knocking on doors and you hope that you hit something when you knock doors. This is specific. This is a Tshwane tender, and everything that you say about Mpumalanga is untruthful, in fact. But I say that mindful that the chair has said you must provide documents of that Mpumalanga tender that you were dealing with. Do you have any comment to what I've said?
No comment.
All right. Thank you, Surgeon. Thank you, Chair.
Let us adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow.